All right, many thanks for joining me once again this morning. Still this morning on ITV, reaching you live from Benin City, Nigeria. So just in case you're watching from any part of the world, it's a great day to be alive. My name is Ugochukwu Bamidele. Do remember, conversation on TMI can be followed on Roku TV if you're in the UK, the US, Africa, and most parts of Europe. Also, you can watch on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, and Smart TV. And then across Nigeria, you could view us on Star Times, channel 130, and GoTV, channel 107. Now, you can also watch via a live stream on the internet from anywhere in the world. All right? Once you've got data access, you can watch via www.itvradionigeriacom/live. Click on the TV stream option. You can also download the Independent Television mobile app. I think that's the easiest way, to access or watch us from anywhere in the world. Plus, it's pretty user-friendly, so that's a good one. All right, our attention this morning is focused on the interestingly controversial letter writing drama that's become, it feels like, okay, ex-generals to ex-generals, ex-president to a current president now. Recently, the former President Olusegun Obasanjo, put out a special press statement, 13-paged, really strong one, generated a whole lot of reaction, and then, especially from the government, there was a reaction to that letter. And just like it was about dying down, the drama from all of that was about dying down. A statement was put out from the camp of former military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. Now, the drama around that letter right now is becoming much more interesting. Now, first of all, the media aid to former president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida was declared wanted. And, that got more interesting, with his visit yesterday to the force headquarters in Abuja. We hear all of the fallouts from that one. We also hear that he's been invited by the DSS today. We're going to give you background on all of that as we go through the discussion this morning. But joining me to do justice to this is a senior journalist, former Commissioner for Transport, Honorable Orobusa Omojo. Many thanks for joining me this morning.
Thank you, Babangida.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so let's start off looking at all of these issues this morning. Pretty interesting, I'm sure you'd agree with me. But let me start from where Nigerians have placed the big question. Have these ex-presidents, ex-generals earned the right to write these letters?
Rightly so. For me, I think rather than engage in series of condemnation, okay, we should be very, very happy and say, viva democracy. These are signs that democracy has come of age.
Okay.
Because, why did I say so? These are the same elements who midwife this present administration.
Okay.
These are the same generals, these are the same elements that acted as gatekeepers. These are the same elements that stampeded the former president out of office. And rightly so, they did, because they were worried as at that time that the Boko Haram issue, had become a global embarrassment, basically. And we all agreed, and we have to put our differences, our partisan differences aside, and work for the emergence of Mr. President. And if the generals, they've realized to say their investment has suddenly become, has suddenly gone bunker, I think it is patriotic for them to realize early enough to go through the same process that they applied and deployed in 2015 to ensure, one, either to patriotically do the right thing, or mischievously try to like wash your hands off to say, yes, we did sell this guy to you. Now let it be on record that we came out to advise Nigerians to say, no, this wasn't what we wanted to give to you guys. So, but it's not left for the quality. It's not left for the land, for the people,
the citizens,
for the masses, for the citizens, to not read beneath the line and between the lines, and I say, okay, we'll take this out of here. I don't belong to the school of thought that would rather believe that we should throw the baby and the bathwater away. Just because IBB did not do well, or Obasanjo did not do well. I've heard different discussions, but it does not remove the myth that what they have done, the letters are very, they are in the good spirit, and is in the interest of the nation.
You think it's good spirit in the interest of the nation? Some persons think, you know, it's a political gimmick to stay relevant.
Oh, well, I don't know a man at 78, a man like IBB, for instance, now is on, quote unquote, is on life support. The man has spent everything, he has spent so much to be alive. If you see IBB in his present stage that he is now, the present state he is now, he sits on one chair throughout the day. You have to assist him up. What will a man like that be looking for attention? I believe these are guys that fought for the unity of this country. And something is what I would do. I am not a system man. My colleagues know. Whoever is watching now will know. I feel so comfortable once I'm in a system. There are people who just stay in a system, whether things are falling apart, things are right or whatever, just because of partisanship. Just because I'm in need, I get my daily bread, you just keep quiet. These generals have fought, and PMB is one of them. There is this stuff, and again, don't forget that they are military men. They are very critical of what is not right. The true military man is not like a politician that will look the other way when everything is going bad. I don't think Obasanjo is seeking any attention.
When they become politicians,
well,
as a result of the turn of things.
Even when they attempt to become politicians, let me use that word. There is no true military general. There is no true journalist that will become overtly political in his decisions.
All right, still looking at whether they've earned the right to write these letters. Let me share the thoughts of very popular lawyer and human rights activist, Festus Keyabo. Now, he actually, in a series of tweets, said a whole lot, but I'm just going to pick out a few part of it. He actually doesn't think they've earned the right to write these letters. All right, but I'd want you to react to the things he said. He said the message from these letters is the need for government to address the problems plaguing Nigeria, which he agrees with. He says, but the message we must reject with the messenger is their roadmap on the way forward. He thinks they are too morally deficient to provide any political compass for this nation. Now, he also went on to say he thinks that these two people have not earned the right to write these letters advising the current president, because during their time they tried to use all the tricks in the books to illegally extend their tenures in office until they were chased away by Nigerians. Well, that's exactly quoting Festus Keyamo.
Incidentally, Festus Keyamo is my lawyer for 15 years. We just spoke before I entered the studio. I want to say here that those are his personal opinion.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
That's a personal opinion. I disagree with him totally. Why? In 2015, when President Olusegun Obasanjo tore the PDP card, that he behaved so childishly. None of these armchair supporters, none of these armchair critics came out to criticize. For me, I thought what Obasanjo did then was childish. It was unstatesmanly. Nobody condemned it because we were all in a frenzy for us to bring in PMB because we believe.
You think it was childish because he was aggrieved, he felt things were not working the way it was supposed to work, and he decides to dissociate himself from it, doing it.
That was my personal opinion then. Just the way this time he believes that Obasanjo has not come out, that he has come out to write letters, that he does not have the moral fiber to write those letters. I believe then that Obasanjo overstepped is the boundaries at that time to express his anger against a puppet president that he helped us to put in place. Nobody then, I have searched through before I came to this program throughout the night. Nobody could, apart from the PDP then, who condemned what that man did. We are aware that this same Obasanjo was the one that gave us, Jonathan. Nobody then condemned as much as that. So I'm saying, if we were happy then that he helped us to bring about, that his attitude and action then helped us to bring about the election of PMB, Professor Skiamo, we rather just help us and remain silent, because I have searched. There is nowhere then we hear he condemned when he openly supported the bringing in of PMB as a president. All so right. Having failed in that state, I think it is inconsistent of his character, because I know he's a man of character, to not come out and condemn the same, Obasanjo. But let me say this one. Yeah. What is it that Obasanjo has said that Kazim Afebwa on behalf of Ibb'S, equally released to the public? I've read through it. And I can't, yes.
We'll get into that.
Okay,
we'll
perfect,
get into
perfect,
that. But
perfect,
let's quickly look at the difference between, these two letters that's gathered so much frenzy at this time. Yes. The Obasanjo letter and the one that was put out by Kazim Afebwa, stating the mind of his principal, former president, military president, actually. What's the difference between these two letters?
The two conflicting letters, or the one from...
No, not... We're getting to the conflicting letters.
Okay, which are two letters.
Letter and Ibb'S.
Okay, you say what's
the difference between the both?
Nothing. It's like having a set of twins, identical twins, and twins are not so much identical. The two letters actually reflected the mood of the nation. For me, they are bipartisan in nature. These are two men who generally do not belong to any political party now. So you won't say they wrote because they wanted party A to win or not. Obasanjo, for instance, said neither APC or PDP can provide the leadership that we are looking for.
But sorry to cut you. Can we quickly go back to the times when this man led this country, talking about Obasanjo, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo actually, and former President General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, the times they led this country, the issues they are bringing to the fore in their letter right now are issues that's always plagued this country. They've always been, things we've dealt with over time.
Let me take. I've had this argument and I laugh. We all remember what happened in Odi, a place called Odi, in Delta State, in the South region of Nigeria, when the insurgents was rising up, whatever. I don't support it. As a journalist, I don't support human rights abuse or whatever. Since then, the entire land space of Odi has been quiet. We have never heard of any insurgents or whatever manner there. And let's go back to the time of Ibb'S. I will tell you, apart from, as a reporter, what I would call the state-organized violence and others, we didn't actually have serious threats to the nation as much as we have now. These two characters exhibited very strong will that the leader should have when dealing with national issues. Obasanjo, for instance, in particular, nobody could have blamed him that the man was partisan. Nobody would have blamed him for favoritism. Nobody would have accused Obasanjo of tribalism or whatever. Nobody. We all know how Obasanjo dealt with OPC. It was under Obasanjo that OPC tried to raise her to become a national menace and embarrassment. Obasanjo, within a twinkle of an eye, crushed them and banned them. So, talking about the national security, which the two letters dealt with, that the blood that is flowing in the land Has never happened before, not even during the Civil War. So these two guys, these two gentle generals, I think I will give them a pass, man. Under them, no rascals, no miscreants there took over. In a situation where a secretary of a body will come up and claim to say, except a law is repealed, X-Men attack will continue. Gee, and 70 men and women, boys and girls were murdered, parents in black, in open trucks, and nothing has happened. And you say these generals that fought should just keep quiet?
Would you really say nothing has happened?
Well, again, I have my right to express my opinion, first as a Nigerian, two as a journalist. When I say nothing has happened, nothing commensurate with the amount of pain and the damage to our psyche has happened. That is one. And you know, it is relative. Is relative to whatever has been done, and it's subjective. Okay. You may think they've done well, but I have a right to my opinion. I totally agree.
Yes. Definitely would respect that. Yeah. But let's look at the core of the controversy surrounding the letter we're focusing on today, Ibb'S letter to President Buhari. Now, just in case you didn't know, the statement was put out on Sunday. Now, that well-circulated letter actually by ex-President Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, and it was signed on his behalf by his media aide, Kasim Afebwa. It asks Nigerians to have patience with President Muhammadu Buhari till the end of his tenure in 2019. Now, shortly after that letter was put out, there was a counter statement released, and that new statement denied some of the critical issues raised in the previous one, saying that former military president Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida had unfettered channel of communication with the highest authorities. Yeah. Let's quickly look at the denial and acceptance of that letter. At some point, it felt like, I didn't say this. And then at some other point, he comes out to say, those were my thoughts. I actually, ordered for that to be put out.
Babidele, I'm going to lay the confusion that that's armless and seamless and very instructive press release that was perfectly put together by Kasim Afebwa. Well, whatever disaffection that the letter may have caused, I want to lay squarely at the desk of our various editors of our national newspapers.
Okay.
I haven't served in this profession that has made me for whatever I am for over 28 years. It saddened me that our editors will catch in on press releases to engage in rat race on how to sell your paper. But again, I am so comforted and comported and happy with the stance of the This Day newspaper. And that shows that the Duke Unduga Bagbena is still the Grand Mayor of investigative journalism in Nigeria. The following day, only this day, I stand by the first release, Ibb'S. Why my friends, editor-in-chief, were busy casting their headline to sell their newspaper, which ridiculously, they don't even sell more than 10,000 copies around the nation because we have become so lazy. But Bagbena placed a call across to Ibb'S himself. And the following day, the map came out. If you read the This Day line, he said, Ibb'S has confirmed that he authored and permitted Kazim's press release, that he stand by it. He went ahead to say, a family member who does not want his name to be mentioned said, it's Ibb'S son Muhammad that authored the second one. Let me inform you, for free charge, Muhammad is allegedly preparing to contest for the governorship of Niger State.
So how does that play out in all of this right now?
For me, I just believe that the media, because I saw the headline, I have read through Kazim's There's nowhere Ibb'S said don't vote for Buhari. The man said, let us support him to end his tenure. He didn't say don't run. He went this follow paragraph, he said, it is time for generational change. Okay. That's a different thing entirely. I'm not somebody that
we will get into the
no. Maybe I need to lead you on so that you know the question to ask. I don't believe when there's this bandwagon of generational change. Okay. In 1999, most of the governors were 35, 39. I remember I was a consultant in the Nigeria Observer when we celebrated Chief Lockbladion's 40th birthday. It was about 2 years into his tenureship. The body was like, so the craze about us going back to generational change. You know, we don't discuss issue. I expected us, the media, to dissect Kazim Afegba's release. They just picked one, don't run. Gee, has it become a sin for you to tell a city president don't run? Why without selling newspaper?
Like I said, we'll get to, I mean, the Kazim Afegba issue is part of the big drama in all of this, so we're going to get there. But, you know, I'm asking why and how did we come to this point where, you know, there is a statement and then it feels like a counter. If you remember with the Olusegun Obasanjo press release, there was a counter statement somewhere. Okay. Also, that's what I'm asking.
Okay.
You know, the controversy.
Okay, fine.
What's in the core of all of this?
Let me let you into our secret pack. I am a media consultant. I'm a brand expert. I brand people. Okay. That's what I do for a living, even before I came to politics. It's part of our gimmick. It's part of our game. It's a style. You can have a, God forbid, a report on you to say you were caught on top of a married woman. Okay. With our training, we can turn the story around and make it look as if it never happened.
I agree.
Even though it happened, we have a way of doing it in such a way to say, yeah, you did it, it was justified. So, if the presidency felt those 2 letters were embarrassing, it was left for additional, if he was in charge of the strategy department in Aso Rock, to quickly go back to put his sticky cap on and go back to his bag full of tricks, of media tricks, to say, what do I do? And commission 1 or 2 persons in the opposing camp. It may not be somebody in the opposing camp. It may just be some frivolous and abstracted persons and names that we author it. And sadly, our newspapers are for sale. The desk of most of our editors, you can buy them. Everything can fly. All you need to do is to sign one indemnity form. And that is it. They take all the risk and carry it. So if you ask me what happened in the denial episode, it's very professional. Boy is professional, and this is what a rounded training media man ought to have learned in school. At your PhD level, when you start looking at wartime propaganda, peacetime propaganda, branding for product, branding for human, because human at a point you become a commodity, a commodified product. You have different languages, you have different modules you use in promoting and de-promoting any of these things. So I think what has happened, the denial, whatever, is all part of
the drama.
No drama. You call it drama. It's all part of that society has become matured in terms of communication. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So still talking about all of this controversy with the letter. You remember very well with the OBJ letter. It wasn't really long before the presidency responded to that letter. But let's look at the IBB letter between Sunday and now. There's been almost no response.
Because there's nothing to respond to. It's just an empty press release. I've read it. As an editor, I can't even put that story on my front page.
That's the reason I was asking
There's
you.
Nothing
that's the reason I was asking, what the difference was between. If I had someone else here,
fine.
I wouldn't be asking that question. I'm asking because of your professional.
Okay, fine.
What's the difference between the 2 letters?
Let me tell you, the OBJ letter, the 38-page letter. First of all, the presentation. When you see a proposal, OBJ he presented a nation a thesis, or what you call a professional report. He gave it to a printer or maybe he had a printing unit in his office.
Okay.
It had a cover, and it was parabind.
Okay.
Then he went on to ensure that the indenting, this headline, the sub-headlines were in different typefaces. The bold, the light, the italics. Let me tell you, OBJ letter is a reflection of the thinking of several generals. OBJ at his level will never utter that letter and send out without consulting those that he worked with in 2015 to ensure that ex-President Jonathan was sent out of office. I am more worried, I am more concerned as an APC man with your Obasanjo's letter more than that of Ibb'S letter. Because
okay, so that's why that one had more strength to require a reaction.
No, you may say strength. You see, you look at the personnel, okay, or the personage of whoever is speaking.
Okay.
OBJ is not a man you should dismiss with a wave of hand. And that's why PMB quickly said, all these people, I'm coming there. I'm coming there. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
And that's why PMB quickly told his aides, don't respond in a negative manner. Of course, before then, the former governor here has insulted Obasanjo. Many people have said, but PMB quickly told additional orders to say, don't respond, because he knows the weight of what was contained in the 38-page letter. Whereas, in the person of Ibb is a delight as a human being. He's friendly. Ibb is not as devious as many people thought. He was just a Maradona who wanted to be in limelight continually if it was possible. He wasn't devious. He didn't have those inherent attitude of, okay, he didn't have a vindictive attitude in such a way that if he says, I'm going to deal with you, he will deal with you. But OBJ has been able to demonstrate to us in Nigeria that if he's on a mission, he is on a mission. He doesn't give a hoot on what happened. Look at his family life. He has gone through a lot. But the man has survived it. He doesn't care. No. So I will tell you that place the two letters on a pedestal, on a scale. Of course, the OBJ letter, overweighs that of Ibb. And that's why I was piqued, and that's why I was angry that the police PRO will shoot blank for over nothing. Over nothing. I would have challenged. I'm happy that right now the police, they've found reason to apologize to the gentleman. I was going to ask, why have they not arrested OBJ? Was it because OBJ was one that spoke? OBJ was too big a fish. But I think we live in very, very difficult and perilous times in Nigeria, where institutions that ought to be our succor, our savior, our protector, have suddenly become our whip. And we have to insist on our right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's cut to the big drama, around all of this right now. Kasim Afegba has said he's suing the police for damage to his character.
Yeah.
But let's focus on the start of all of this, the issue around declaring Kasim Afegba wanted, and the issue for which he is wanted with regards to the letter,
yes,
which he authored,
yes,
saying it was contentious and inciting. Now, you've gone through that letter.
Yes.
Let's really look at the issue. Contentious and inciting.
It's sad. And I'm one person, when I spoke with Kazim just before I entered the studio, and when he told me they've apologized, I was very, very sad. It would have been nice for Kasim Afegba, and I hope he wouldn't drop the case against them. Because it's a case that a one-year-old lawyer would easily be able to defeat the police institution.
Okay.
One of the pillars guiding this noble profession is free speech. Even without the Constitution guaranteeing free speech. And it's sad that the Constitution has not actually taken the pen profession to single it out and protect it in our practice. But, however, there are several charters under which we can practice our profession. Not even us, even the man on the street.
Okay.
Once you become a public officer, he is like a man who says, I don't want to be drenched in water, and you move very close to the ocean. If you don't want to be spoken about, you don't want to be talked about, you shouldn't step into the, as they say, the murky water of politics or public office. I've read through that letter. It's just what we call in feature writing generalization. Okay. What the letter was very general in nature. It wasn't even tough. There are no highlights. There are no high points. I read it. It took me about 3 minutes in the car now before I got here to go through, because I've never actually taken time
to look through it.
But I couldn't marry the content with the headline. There is nothing contentious to answer your question. Somebody even said it's hate speech. But funny enough, in all my research throughout the night, I've not heard the police said hate speech or whatever.
It's just contentious and inciting. That's where they have an issue.
Nothing is inciting about it. What is inciting about that is not inciting in OBJ letter?
Okay. Let me ask a quick question, because I'm sure somebody's asking that question right now. Are you saying that letter doesn't have anything contentious and inciting because you have a close relationship with Kasim Febwa, or because you read that letter professionally and you're stating a professional point of view?
Let me say, Babylon, you are pushing me to where I didn't want to get to. Kasim Febwa and I, we were in government together. Okay. We were friends because we have the same character, irrepressible character. Okay. But it will amaze you, Kasim Febwa announced my removal from office.
Which we're very aware of, yeah.
Very aware of. I have every reason to say, okay, it sounds right. But, like they say, the man that throws stone into the marketplace, you may just get home that your mother is on his, is on his sick bed. What happened? One man threw stone and he hit my head. As long as our institutions are weakened in such a manner that we are no longer guaranteeing our fundamental human rights, a governor today can become the ex-governor tomorrow. A commissioner today can become ex-commissioner tomorrow, like I am now. Like Kazim is a former special advisor, a former commissioner. He is, I am. Let's put aside. As a journalist, my training gives me that impetus to be able to defend the fundamental human rights of everybody here on earth.
Okay, so you're saying that it's not contentious, or you didn't find anything contentious and inciting.
As a well-trained communicator, as a well-trained journalist, I did not. Let me even tell you, I have suffered a more serious fate than what Kazim just got. I was held and locked up for 2 weeks by the same president, Olusegun Obasanjo, and I was accused for all this and treason. I was locked up, but to the grace of Festus Keyamo and my friend Abdul, who was in the House of Rep, he was a deputy chairman, Human Rights Committee in the House of Rep, along with the speaker, acted on my son's petition to the House. And the police, the same police, were given 2 weeks to either charge me to court or let me off. After 2 weeks, I was let off. For the same reason of free speech, of editorial material that I wrote.
So now that you've brought in the issue of the police here, let's also bring the big question everyone is asking. Does the Inspector General of Police and the Nigerian Police Force serve the citizenry or the political class? Because it feels like, kind of that's what's playing out here.
You know, Babidele, I think this interview by enemies, by any strata, is a classic. It's like I discuss the questions with you. See, the police will tell you the police is your friend.
Okay.
That's how it ought to be. If you are in crisis in Ghana, you see a policeman by the roadside, you run to him and run behind him. He protects you.
Okay.
I watched one video that went viral in Ghana. The president was driving in a small car, it was a front seat, and he was screaming at the policeman, "Stop taking bribes, stop taking five CD." And the policeman was saying, "Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir." And I saw the symbiotic relationship between the president and the police, the humane attitude. You could see the president was respecting the police, and the policemen were equally respecting Mr. President. And I don't think here that the police ought to protect, even me when I was commissioner. I get so embarrassed at times when I see policemen carrying bag after some of my colleagues. I never use any of those things. I didn't have a police orderly. It was my right to have. I refused. I rejected it. And when I see policemen attached to my colleagues carrying their bags and file, I'm so ashamed that I am a Nigerian. And back to your question, focally, let me attack it. The police ought to be the one that will protect the sanctity of their institution. The police shouldn't. Because like what just happened, I'm not sure PNB or APC instructed the IG or the police or the first PRO to act in a manner to have issued that reckless, release, seeking for the arrest of Mr. Kazem. It was just face saving. It was just eye service. Whereas you are bothering yourself to order the arrest of a harmless, innocent, well-schooled, well-trained, patriotic Nigerian. You have several criminals masquerading everywhere. You have youths that are taking drugs openly. You have not bothered yourself. You have members of the police force who the IG repeatedly have said there shall be no roadblocks. You have members of police who the police force have repeatedly advised don't take money from motorists or whatever. You have several cases where police will carry banner in front of the offices. Bail is free, and policemen are contravailing it. You have not bothered yourself as the spokesman or the police to address the public to say, please, it's your right not to pay for bail. Call this number if they pay to bail. And you are pursuing, personal aggrandizement, things that will make you look good before the governor, before the president. For me, those are self-serving, and it will help us as a nation.
All right, let's quickly wrap up.
The police is for us, and not for the leaders.
Supposed to be for us.
Should be for us.
All right, so quickly, let's wrap up with this because of time. Kassim Afenwa has been invited by the DSS to.
Yes.
What do you think? Would be the reason for that, even after the police has apologized?
I think the DSS. I'm sorry. Again, I will speak as a media man, and I will speak as a Nigerian who was born and brought up here. I think the DSS seems to be more organized. Let me just use that decent word. There's a word I want to use that won't be too nice. Okay. I think the DSS, they are more organized. They ought to be more organized, and I still want to believe that they are still more organized. They may have noticed one or two things, and that they want to invite him. There are people who done it well. They invited him, personally, not going to the press. So on that one, I will score them high. Let Kazim go. He has promised he will go, and I believe nothing will come out of it. I'm sure it's going to be. I'm sure they may have a reason why they call it. It may just be let's work together. We are friends. At your level, after becoming the commissioner of a state, the next thing for you, don't forget the vice president was a commissioner in Lagos State.
True.
After being a commissioner, you can become the governor, the president, or whatever. So he's a statesman. Kazim Afenwa is almost, if he's not 50, I'm sure he's over 50. At 50, my brother, if not because of the oppressive, depressive state that we have found ourselves in this country. At 50, Gowon was, some people said 32. I believe it was 29. Ojukwu was 32. Except I have to check my history well. What happens to us that are 50? You still have to be scared to speak, or what? So I'm sure there's no harm. Maybe I believe being a very diligent agency. I'm sure they want to partner with him. I'm sure they want to discuss with him. Okay. Maybe I'm sure they want to share some ideas with him on how we can run this country.
All right, in just a minute, just before I let you go, because I know you're a very busy person. Let's just quickly go back, wrapping up this discussion. Let's look at the players. You know, IBB, OBJ, PMB, 2019 with their ages right now. Is there anything to lose for them?
Is there anything what?
Anything to lose?
To lose?
Yeah.
IBB,
PMB, OBJ. All ex-generals. They've ruled the country.
Let me say this. I think there is too much. We are giving too much credence to these ex-generals who, for me, they have outlived their usefulness. I would want to pay attention to the Donald Duke movement, which we are all quiet about.
Well, he has not come out to say anything about it yet. It's still within the rumor mill.
No, they are not. At the launching of Obasanjo's group, he was there by the left-hand side. I will read about them. They are launching at the end of the month and whatever. For me, my brother, let me just say this one. Is when we read them and as reporters again, you know, don't forget we set the agenda.
True.
Until we start, until we start paying less and lesser attention to these guys that have led us for over 45 years, we won't move anywhere. Right. If I have to advise the Nigerian Union of Journalists and the newspaper proprietors association of Nigeria and the NBC and others, I will say let's play down on statement by these generals and let's throw up statement made by the younger ones like you and I, like Kazim and others, because we still have a lot, by the grace of God, we still have time ahead of us. Our children are there. This guy you're talking about, they don't care. Their great-grandchildren are being taken care of by the virtue of the fact that they've taken from the common patrimony that we all have. So
I'm going to say thank you very much, Honorable Orogo Salmojo, for your time this morning. I wish we could, look at some more issues, but then time is not on our side again. We need to take a break this morning.
Thank you.
Don't forget, CMI continues on the other side.